Hello students, welcome to Sri Jain Rank Zone classes. In today's lecture, we will continue our series about parts of speech and today we will learn about adverbs. As you know, in previous lectures, we have already covered nouns, pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions and adjectives. Therefore, today we will be moving forward with adverbs. Definition of adverbs. An adverb refers to an element in a sentence used to adjective, adjective, another adverb, conjunction, or even an entire clause. It means that an adverb is used to add to the meaning of a verb or an adjective or another adverb. It can be a preposition as well or a conjunction or even an entire sentence. Let us try to understand this with an example. He works hard. Here you can see adverb is modifying a verb. He is telling us about the hard work of a person. He works hard. How does he work? He works hard. So hard is an adverb over here which is modifying the meaning of a verb. Let us move on to next example. She is very good. In this sentence, adverb is modifying the adjective. What is the adjective in this sentence? Good is the adjective in this sentence. And what adverb is doing? Adverb very is adding to the impact of good. Like it is increasing the emphasis on good. She is very good. Alright? So adverb is modifying the adjective in this sentence. She works very hard. Adverb is modifying adverb. You can see uh, he works hard, so hard was a adverb. Hard in this sentence also hard is an instead of just writing she works hard, we want to lay more emphasis on hard. Therefore, we have added adverb in front of adverb hard. So she works very hard. Very is also an adverb, hard is also an adverb. So in this sentence, adverb is modifying adverb. Like in previous sentence, modifying adjective or verb, but in this sentence, adverb is modifying adverb only. She works very hard. The helicopter hovered exactly over his house. Adverb is modifying preposition in this sentence. How can we say? Over is a preposition and exactly is telling about the exactly is telling laying more emphasis about the fact that helicopter was directly over his house. Okay, so here adverb exactly is modifying the preposition over. The helicopter hovered exactly over his house. The sentence could also be the helicopter hovered over his house, but we want to lay more emphasis that the helicopter was exactly over his house. Okay. Next example. He likes her simply because she has a clear conscience. Adverb is modifying conjunction in this sentence. How? He likes her simply. Simply is a adverb in the sentence and because is a conjunction which is joining two sentences. Therefore, simply which is an adverb is modifying because which is a conjunction. He likes her simply because she has a clear conscience. Okay. Fort Fortunately, no one you can see no one was hurt is a complete sentence and adverb fortunately is modifying a complete sentence. Fortunately is an adverb which is modifying the complete sentence. No one was hurt. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you. An adverb refers to any element in a sentence used to modify a verb, adjective, another adverb, preposition, conjunction, or even an entire clause. Okay, I hope this is clear to you as I have also given the examples. He works hard. Here, adverb is modifying verb, alright? Similarly, I have also mentioned examples for adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and also complete sentences. So I hope this definition of adverb is clear to you all. Let's move forward and understand the categories of adverbs. First category of time. Time. Adverbs of time, when, or for how long duration something happens or is the case. Adverb, adverb of time tell us about any activity or something has happened. Examples of adverbs of time are yesterday, still, yet, later, for, since. For example, we are eating now. So now is an adverb of time over here. It is telling us about the exact when are we eating? We are eating about the time of the activity. I am going I am going to the movies tomorrow. So what will be the adverb of time in this sentence? We just need to ask when. So I am going to the movies. When are you going to the movies? I am going to the movies tomorrow. So tomorrow is the adverb of time in this sentence. Next year I am going to run for president. So next year is the adverb of time in this sentence. How can we tell? When are you? We just have to ask a simple question. When or for how long? So, when are you going to run for president? Next year. Okay. So, next year is the adverb of time over here. Now, I have to start the whole project again from scratch. So, you can see that now is a adverb of time in this sentence as well. I have been running for 3 hours. How long have you been running? I have been running for 3 hours. So you can say that for is the adverb of time for 3 hours. Okay, for 3 hours completely would be the adverb of time. We have been looking since September for a place to live. Since September is a adverb of time over here. Since is a adverb of time. Why? Because it is telling us for how long or has he been looking for. We have been looking since September for a place to live. All right. So since is a adverb of time. There are a few subsets of adverb of time as well, like adverb of frequency, adverb of duration, etc. So adverb of frequency describes how frequently something happens. Okay, it is a subset of adverbs of time. Some of the examples of adverbs of frequency are always, usually, sometimes, often, rarely, daily, weekly, monthly. I rarely eat breakfast in bed. So rarely is an adverb of frequency in this. Why? Because in this sentence we are asking how frequently does he eat breakfast in bed. So I rarely eat breakfast in bed. Rarely gives answer to the question how frequently. Alright, therefore rarely is a adverb of frequency in this sentence. So I hope adverbs of time are clear to you. Adverbs of time tell us of what time or for how long something happens or is the case. So we just need to ask the question when and for how long in order to identify adverbs of time. Alright, let's move on to our next type of adverbs, that is adverbs of place. Adverbs of place tell us about an aspect of location associated with the actions of a verb, specifying the direction involved in the action. Place are specific to actions of verbs. They cannot be used to modify adverbs or adjectives. For example, north, everywhere, here, there, forward, downward, up, uphill, behind, and many more. Some of the examples of adverbs of place while being used in a sentence are: I absolutely hate running uphill. So uphill is a adverb of place over here. Okay. Adverb of place tells us about an aspect of location as involved in the action. 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 So they can mainly be used only with verbs. They cannot be used to modify adverbs or adjectives. Alright. So I absolutely hate running uphill. Uphill is the adverbs of place. The wind keeps scattering sand everywhere. The wind keeps scattering sand everywhere. There is the rest of the team. So there is a adverb of place in this. How? Because it is telling us about the location of the rest of the team. Let's dive down a bit further. In this sentence, down is a adverb of place. Alright? You should always go forward in life. Adverb of place. So I hope this is clear to you. Adverbs of place tell us about an aspect of location associated with the action of a verb, specifying the direction, distance, movement, or position involved in the action. Because adverbs of place are specific to actions of verbs, they cannot be used to modify adverbs or adjectives. So I hope these lines are clear to you. We have to ask the question where. Okay. Where do you hate running? I absolutely hate running uphill. Where did the wind scatter sand? The wind keeps scattering sand everywhere. There is rest of the team. Where is rest of the team? What will answer this question? There is the rest of the team. So there is adverb of place. Let's move on to our next category of adverbs. Adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner describe how something happens or how someone does something. They can modify verbs, adjectives, or clauses of a sentence. So, adverbs of manner describe how something happens or how someone does something. Therefore, they can modify verbs, adjectives, or even clause. For example, some of the adverbs of manner are beautifully, wonderfully, slowly, deliberately, happily. She, she is a beautiful singer. It describes the noun singer. She sings beautifully. Beautifully is an adverb of manner. It describes the verb sing. How does she sing? She sings beautifully. Alright? So, in first sentence, she is a beautiful singer. Beautiful is used as an adjective. But in second sentence, she sings beautifully. We are talking about the subject only. Therefore, beautifully is an adverb of manner and it describes the verb sing. How does she sing? She sings beautifully. Alright, this is adverb of manner. They work enthusiastically. Enthusiastically is the adverb of manner over here. How did they work? They work enthusiastically. The children are playing happily. He plays golf terribly. These are all adverb of manner. Alright? Which describe how something happens or how someone does something. Alright? Let's move on to our next category of adverb. Adverbs of degree. Adverbs of degree are used to indicate the intensity, degree, or extent of the verb, adjective, or adverb they are modifying. They always appear before the adjective, verb, or other. For example, undoubtedly, truly, very, quite, pretty, somewhat, fairly. So these are some of the examples of adverbs of degree. All right. So I am fairly certain this is correct. Fairly is an adverb of degree in this sentence. He undoubtedly stole the money. Undoubtedly is a adverb of degree. He is definitely coming to the party. She is very sorry for her bad behavior. I quite like Indian food. All these are adverbs of degree. Okay? They indicate about the intensity. They indicate us about the intensity, degree, or extent of the verb, adjective, or adverb they are modifying. I quite like Indian food. She is very sorry for her bad behavior. He is definitely coming to the party. So, fairly, undoubtedly, definitely, very, quite. All these are adverbs of degree. Let's move on to our next category of adverbs of purpose. It describes why something happens or is the case. Single word adverbs are usually conjunctive adverbs. It describes why something happens or is the case. They can modify verbs, adjectives, or adverbs. For example, therefore, thus, consequently, hence, etc. We have never seen such high numbers. We must therefore conclude that the results are not normal. Jen hadn't enjoyed the play. As a result, she didn't recommend it. The clothing is handcrafted and hence expensive. I have grown food of our time together and thus sad to see it end. These are all adverbs of purpose. Therefore, as a result, hence, thus. Why? Because they are telling us about something that has happened in this. Jen hadn't enjoyed the play. As a result, she didn't recommend it. So she came to know about she came to know about the situation without ever going to the place physically. So all the adverbs of purpose describe why something happens or why something might happen. All right, let's move on to our adverbs, negative adverbs. Negative adverbs are used to modify the meaning of a verb, adjective, other adverb, or entire clause in a negative way. Used in many of the other categories above. For example, no, not, hardly, barely, never, seldom. These are all negative adverbs. He does not work on Mondays. Not is a negative adverb in this sentence. Neither Tom nor James turned up at the party. So, nor is a negative adverb. I do not go swimming on Mondays. We did not go to the supermarket yesterday. So, these are all examples of negative adverbs. Let's move forward and try to understand various rules that we must follow in order to form grammatically correct sentences. Alright? So, the rules for using adverbs are: rule number one, generally, adverb of manner, time, and place are used after the verb. But if an object of the verb is also used after that object. For example, he drives recklessly. This is an correct example of adverb of manner. We cannot write he recklessly drives. Why? Because drives is a verb, and uh, after the verb, but if an object of the verb is also used, then it is used after that object. Therefore, drives is an object in this sentence, and recklessly will come after the drive. Okay. Adverb of time. We will come soon. This is a correct statement. What will be wrong? We will soon come. Okay. We will come soon ki in place of we will come soon, the correct in place of we will soon come, the correct answer is he will come soon. Example of adverb of place. There were flowers everywhere. This is a correct statement. There were everywhere flowers. We cannot write this. All right. The correct state. The correct state. The correct statement is there were flowers everywhere. Okay. Type of verb. With these three type of adverbs, you have to use. You have to place it after the verb. Okay. Let's move on to rule number 2. If two or more adverbs are used after the adverb or the object, then their order will be adverb of manner, adverb of place, and adverb of time. Okay? If two or more adverbs are used after the adverb or the object, then their order will be adverb of manner comes first, followed by adverb of place, followed by adverb of time. Example: yesterday she spoke impressively at the function. You can see this is an incorrect statement. Why? Because impressively and impressively is a adverb of manner, and yesterday is an adverb of time. So impressively will come ahead of adverb of time. She spoke impressively at the function yesterday. This is a correct statement. By this evening, you should reach home. This is an incorrect statement. The correct statement would be, you should reach home by this evening. I hope rule number 2 is also clear to you guys. So whenever we have multiples, then the order will be adverb of manner, adverb of place, and adverb of time. Okay. Rule number 3. Adverbs of frequency. Example: always, rare, often, rarely, usually, generally, and some other adverbs. Example: almost, already, hardly, just, nearly, quite, are used in between the subject and the verb if the verb is a single word. I go there usually is an incorrect statement. The correct statement will be I usually go there. Okay. But if the verb is of more than one word, then they are used after the first word of the verb. But if the verb is of more than one word, then they are used after the first word of the verb. For example, he already has finished his work. This is an incorrect statement. He has already finished his work. This is the correct statement. Okay. So this was rule number 3. Rule number 4. After that word to which it modifies. The adverb enough is always used after that word to which it modifies. For example, he was enough kind to help me. What is enough trying to modify in this sentence? It is trying to modify the kind of help, kind to help me. So what we will do, enough will be used after kind. Okay, he was kind enough to help me. This is the correct statement. This house is enough large for our purpose. This house is large enough for our purpose would be the correct statement. The adverb enough is always used after that word to which it modifies. Okay, for example, he was enough kind to help me. He was linked enough to help me. This house is enough large for our purpose, but this house is large enough for our purpose. So instead of writing this house is enough large, we will write this house is large enough for our purpose. This way, everyone will be comfortable. Rule number 5. If an adverb qualifies the whole sentence or is issued to emphasize the complete sentence, then adverb is used in the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so if an adverb wants if an adverb qualifies the whole sentence or is used to emphasize the complete sentence, then adverb is used in the beginning of the sentence. Okay. For example, no one was luckily killed in the accident. This is an incorrect statement. The correct statement would be luckily no one was killed in the accident. A very serious accident occurred unfortunately. This is an incorrect statement. Why? Because unfortunately cannot be used to end the sentence. Unfortunately, a very serious accident occurred. This is a correct statement. I hope all these rules are clear to you. Let's move on to our next rule. Rule number 6. Double negative should not be used because it has no meaning. Double negative means we cannot use two words specifying negative sentence or negative adverb in a same sentence. For example, I cannot walk. So this is an incorrect statement. Why? Because we have used cannot as well as no further in this sentence. So what would be the correct sentence? I cannot walk any further now would be the correct statement. Rule number 7. Adverbs seldom, never, nowhere, nothing, hardly, scarcely, neither, barely, and rarely are negative in meaning, and thus one should be careful to avoid double negatives. Negative words like not or never are also not used with them. So, there are a few adverbs like seldom, never, nowhere, neither, barely, rarely, and they are negative in rarely are negative in meaning, and thus one should be careful to avoid double negative. Negative words like not or never are not used with them. For example, I rarely went to meet nobody. This is an incorrect statement. What would be the correct statement? I rarely went on to become anybody. She hardly knows nothing about me is an incorrect statement. The correct statement would be he hardly knows anything about me. She hardly knows anything about me is the correct sentence. Those adverbs of time which denote past time should not be used in present perfect tense. For example, I have joined my duties last month. This is an incorrect statement. Why? Because I have joined in this sentence I have joined my duties last month. We have used uh, present perfect tense with past time. Okay, last month denotes a time which has already passed, so we cannot use have with it. We will what would be the correct statement? I joined my duties last month. This is the correct statement. Rule number 9. In sentences starting with seldom, never, hardly, rare, rarely, and scarcely. Examples: seldom have I seen such a beautiful sight. This is a correct statement. Seldom I have seen such a beautiful sight. It is an incorrect statement. Why? Because with seldom we have to invert the sentences. Rule number 10. The adverbs too much is used with nouns and much too is used with adjectives. Okay? When there would be too much, and when there it would be much too. Okay? Too much and much too. Too much pain or too much sincerity. Much too painful, much too careless. So I hope this is clear to you. Whenever we use inversion, whenever we use words or sentences starting with seldom, never, hardly, rarely, scarcely, we use inversion only. Okay. Rule number 10. The adverbs too much is used with nouns and much too is used with adjectives. Too much pain, too much insincerity. Much too painful, much too careless. The adverbs too much is used with nouns and much too is used with adjectives. Okay, so with nouns, how will it look? Too much pain, too much insincerity. These are nouns. Now, how will it look with adjectives? Much too painful, much too careless. So these are possible tricks that we can try. The adverbs too much is used with nouns and much too is used with the adjectives. Okay, I hope this rule is clear to you. Let's move on to rule number 11. Words like more or less are added to the main adverb when comparing two things. Most or least are used. Example, frequently, frequently. With sneakers on, she could move more quickly among the patients. More quickly among the patients. The flowers were the most beautiful arranged creations I have ever seen. The flowers were the most beautifully arranged creations I have ever seen. She worked less confidently after her accident. So here also, that was the least skillfully done performance I have seen in years. Least skillfully, less confidently, most beautifully, more quickly. These are all adverbs. Okay. Words like more or less are added to the main adverb when comparing two things. Okay. We will use more, less, most, least instead of using the super. Okay. 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 If we use comparison, it will be an adjective, not an adverb. So with more, least, least. Okay. She could move more quickly among the patients. Flowers were the most beautiful arranged creations. She worked less confidently after her accident. That was the least skillful done performance I have seen in years. So these are all the examples in which words like more or less are added to the main adverbs. Not all words ending in ly are adverbs. This is pretty obvious, but some students assume that a word is an adverb just because it ends in ly. Not all words ending in ly are adverbs, okay? Please remember that everything ending with li is not an adverb. There are several other form of sentences that they can be, like mainly, masterly, slovenly, friendly, orderly, gentlemanly, sickly, weekly, monthly are predictions. Okay? Not all words ending in ly would be adverbs, and words like more or less are added to the main show. Let's move. No adverb should be used in between to and the verb of the infinitive. Okay? For example, he instructed me to the doctor. This is a incorrect statement. The correct statement should have been he insured me to call the doctor immediately. Rule number 14. Adverb as can be used with adverb regard, describe, define, treat, view, know. As cannot be used with name, elect, think, consider, call, appoint, make, choose. For example, I regard him my brother. This is an incorrect statement. After reading once only, you see that something is amiss. So, what would be the correct statement? I regard him as my brother. Alright? She is considered as the best student of my class. This is an incorrect statement. The correct statement would be, she is considered the best student of my class. We will not use as with consider. We will directly write, she is considered the best student of my class is correct. So these are all the rules, 14 rules that we have discussed right now related to usage of adverbs. Now let's try to implement those rules and uh, identify the correct answer. Uh, the following sentences have been divided into three parts: 1, 2, and 3. Read the sentences carefully to find out if there is any error in any part of the sentence. The error is, if any, will help will be in any the error, if any, will be in any one part of the sentence. Mark that part as your answer. If the sentence is completely correct as it is, then choose option D. A man of 50 cannot be called as young. A man of 50 cannot be called as young. This is our statement which is divided into three parts. You have to identify which part has an error, or if all the three parts are correct, then we will mark no error. I am giving you 20 seconds to please approach this question, try to resolve it and mark the correct answer. A man of 50 cannot be called as young. Is there any mistake in this pendant? A man of 50 cannot be called as young. Which part is incorrect? Part 1, part 2, or part 3? I hope all of you have marked the correct answer. Let's discuss the answer of this question. A man of 50 cannot be called as young. So the mistake is in third part. Why? Because we cannot use as with call. Okay? As cannot be placed after called. So part 3 is incorrect. Option C is correct. As cannot be placed after called. Correct sentence would be, a man of 50 cannot be called young. Okay? This is the correct statement. A man of 50 cannot be called young. We will remove as from this statement and the statement becomes correct. Question number 2. A soldier is taught never to fight cowardly. This is also divided into three parts. Fight cowardly, fight cowardly, fight cowardly. So which is the incorrect part in this sentence? Or is there no error in this sentence? A soldier is taught never to fight cowardly. I hope all of you have marked your answers. The correct answer is option 3. Why? Because fight is a verb and needs an adverb to qualify it. But cowardly is a adjective. We cannot use adjective over here. Instead of adjective cowardly, we will use in a cowardly manner, which is a correct form of adverb. A soldier is taught never to fight in a cowardly manner. Instead of just cowardly, we will use in a cowardly manner in order to qualify the verb fight. A soldier, the correct sentence would be a soldier is taught never to fight in a cowardly manner. Okay, part 3 is incorrect, option C. Let's move on to our next question. He is enough tall to be selected as sub-inspector in Delhi Police. He is enough tall to be selected as sub-inspector in Delhi Police. Which part of I am giving you 20 seconds. Please mark the correct answer. He is enough tall to be selected as sub-inspector in Delhi Police. Is there any error in this sentence or is there no error? Okay, students, I hope all of you have marked your answers. He is enough tall to be selected as sub-inspector in Delhi Police. So the correct answer to this question is he is enough tall. This is the incorrect part. Part 1 is incorrect. Why? Because enough comes after an adjective and not before an adjective. So the correct statement would be he is tall enough to be selected as sub-inspector in New Delhi. So enough comes after an adjective. Okay. Therefore, we will put enough after tall and the correct sentence will become he is tall enough to be selected as sub-inspector in Delhi Police. So option A is correct. Part 1 is that is he is instead of enough tall, the correct form would be tall enough. Let's move on to question number 4. I did not know hardly anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. I am giving you 30 seconds. Please resolve this question. I did not know hardly anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. Which part is incorrect? Part 1, part 2, or part 3? Or is there no error in this question? I did not know hardly anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. All of you please take your time but mark the correct answer in this question. Alright, I am giving you 20 extra seconds. Go through the line again, try to remember the rules that we discussed, and this question can be solved really easily. Identify the part which is incorrect. I did not know hardly anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. I did not know hardly anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. I hope all of you have marked the correct answers. Let's discuss the answer. The error is in first part. I did not know hardly anyone in the college. So first part is incorrect. How? Because hardly cannot take not with it. We cannot use not and hardly together. This is a rule that we discussed already, that hardly, scarcely, and a few other words cannot be clubbed together with not or never. Why? Because double negatives cancel each other. I did not know hardly anyone in the college, so we cannot use double negatives in a single sentence. Instead, what we will do, we will remove did not, and we will put hardly in front of the verb no. So the correct sentence in the college, and so I hardly know anyone in the college, and so I felt lonely all the time. This is the correct sentence. We will remove hardly. We will remove did not because it cannot be used with hardly. Okay, due to double negatives, part 1 is incorrect. I hope this is clear to you all. I did not know hardly. We cannot use not and hardly together in a single sentence. So part 1 is incorrect. Now let's discuss question number 5. My father is very quicker than I at chess. Is there any error in this sentence? Please try to recognize. I am giving you 30 seconds. My father is very quicker than I at chess. My father is very quicker than I at chess. Which part is correct? Which part is incorrect? Part 1, part 2, or part 3? Quicker than I at chess. Try to remember the rules that we discussed. Can we use very over here? My father is very quicker than I at chess. Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect. My father is very quicker than I at chess. I hope all of you have marked your answers. Now let's discuss. My father is very quicker than I at chess. So part 2 is incorrect. We cannot use is very quicker than. Why? Because much will come with quicker. It is a comparative degree. We are comparing the father and I. Therefore, while comparing, adverbs use much or less, many, more, this kind of sentences instead of very. Therefore, the correct sentence will become my father is much quicker than I at chess. And part B is the correct option. Part 2 is incorrect. My father is very quicker than I at chess is incorrect, and the correct sentence is my father is much. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 6. She had barely nothing to wear when she came to me for help. She had barely nothing to wear when she came to me for help. Try to remember the rules and you can, okay? Nothing to wear when she came. Please mark, please mark, please mark, please mark the correct answer. She had barely nothing to wear when she came to me for help. Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, part 3 is incorrect, or there is no error in the sentence. I hope all of you have marked your answers. As I told you, we cannot use barely and nothing together. Okay? We cannot use nothing, not, never with barely, scarcely, uh, then therefore she had barely nothing to wear. Nothing to wear is an incorrect option. Part 2 is incorrect. Barely will not take nothing after it. Change nothing to anything. The correct sentence becomes she to wear. When she came to me for had barely anything to wear when she came to me for help. This is the correct statement. And the error is in part 2. Instead of nothing, we will use anything. Why? Because we cannot use nothing with barely. Double negative, it will become double negative. Okay. Therefore, she had barely anything to wear when she came to me for help. Sorry. I hope all of you have understood why part 2 is incorrect. Let's move on to our next question. Question number 7. I am full of energy today because I soundly slept last night. I am full of energy today because I soundly slept last night. What do you think? Which part has an error in the sentence? Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect? I am full of energy today because I soundly slept last night. So the correct answer is we cannot use soundly slept last night. We cannot place soundly before the verb. It will come after the verb. Okay, so the correct sentence would become I am full of energy today because I slept soundly. Slept is a verb which is an adverb after it, and instead of coming before slept, it will come after slept. I am full of energy today because I slept soundly last night. This is the correct option. Therefore, option 3, part 3 is incorrect. Let's move on to question number 8. The state government appointed him as officer in charge. I am giving you 30 seconds. Please try to recognize the error in this sentence. It is very easy. Just try to point it out. The state government appointed him as officer in charge. Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect. The state government appointed him as officer in charge. Can we use as with appointed? No, no. Therefore, option 2, part 2 is incorrect. remove as. A point is not followed by as. Therefore, the correct statement would be the state government appointed him officer in charge. The state government appointed him officer in charge. So, option B, part 2 is incorrect. Question number 9 for practice. All the pupils stood up respectively as the Guru entered the room. All the pupils stood up respective as the Guru entered the room. Which part is incorrect? Part 1, part 2 or part 3? All the pupils stood up respectively as the Guru entered the room. Which part is incorrect? All the pupils stood up respectively as the Guru entered the room. Can we use respectively in this sentence? No. Therefore, the error is in part 2. Part 2 is incorrect. We will use respectfully instead of respectively. Why? Because respectively is in the a given order. It means in the given order, while respectfully means marked by respect. So all the pupils stood up respectfully. All the pupils stood up respectfully as the Guru entered the room is the correct statement. Part 2 is incorrect. Question number 10. You have acted nobler than all of us. You have acted nobler than all of us. Can we use nobler in this sentence? No, we cannot use nobler because nobler is an adjective. So part 2 is incorrect and the correct answer is B. What will we use instead of nobler? We will use more nobly. Nobler is an adjective and here we need an adverb. So the correct statement would be you have acted more nobly than most of us, than all of us. You have acted more nobly than all of us. So part 2 is incorrect. Instead of nobler, more nobly will be used. Let's move on to question number 11. I see him often at the bus terminal. I see him often at the bus terminal. Please, please identify the error. I see him at the bus terminal. Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect? Or is there no error in this sentence? I see him often at the bus terminal. Please mark the correct answer, whether it is part 1, part 2, or part 3. Mark your answers, alright? Giving you 10 more seconds, then we will discuss this question, alright? Be quick. We also have to work on our speed of resolving these answers, alright? I see him often at the bus terminal. What is the correct answer? The correct answer often. To use often. To use often. To use often. To use often. Uh, After C. Often will have to be used before C. Will come before. 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 Will come before the main verb C. Therefore, the error is in part 1. Part 1 is incorrect. The correct sentence is I often see him at the bus terminal. Next question. You should have sufficiently meant. Please identify. 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 Please identify whether part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect. Petrol to petrol to petrol to petrol to petrol to pay back the loan. All of you, please mark your answer. You should have sufficiently collateral to pay back the loan. I hope all of collateral, 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 collateral is a noun and hence will be qualified by an adjective sufficient. Can easily, 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 can easily solve our purpose. You should have sufficient collateral to pay back sufficiently, 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 sufficiently is incorrect. Sufficiently is an we do not need an adverb in this sentence. You should have sufficient collateral and therefore part 2 is incorrect. Question number 13. We seldom or ever go out these days because it is too hot nowadays. We seldom or ever go out these days because it is too hot nowadays. Please try to identify the error in this sentence. Please recognize whether part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, or part 3 is incorrect, or whether there is no error in the sentence. We seldom or ever go out these days because it is too hot nowadays. Can we use ever with seldom? So the correct answer is part 1 is incorrect. Why? Because seldom is followed by never and not by ever. The correct sentence will become we seldom or never go out these days because it is too hot nowadays. We seldom or never go out these days because it is too hot nowadays. I hope I hope all of you are marking the correct answers now as we have practiced a lot. Let's move on to question number 14. She does her work good as she is a trained nurse. She does her work good as she is a trained nurse. Part 1 is incorrect, part 2 is incorrect, part 3 is incorrect, or there is no error in this sentence. She does her work good as she is a trained nurse. Mark your answers. I'm giving you 30 seconds. She does her work good as she is a trained nurse. You have to identify the incorrect part of the sentence or mark no error. 10 more seconds. Please hurry up and mark the answers. She does her work good as she is a trained nurse. The correct answer to this question is option B. Why? Because good is an adjective and we will use verb she does her work good instead of good we will use well. The correct sentence will become she does her work well as she is a trained nurse. Therefore, part 2 is incorrect. Okay? The correct statement is she does her work well as she is a trained nurse. Instead of good, well will be used. Why? Because good is an adjective and well is an adverb. Let's move on to our last question for today's lecture. Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Part 1 is incorrect, Part 2 is incorrect, Part 3 is incorrect, or there is no error. This is our last question, so I am giving you 1 minute. Go through it properly. I I don't think you should take 1 minute in order to solve this question. Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. We have already discussed this concept multiple times in rules as well as in practice questions. Which part is incorrect? Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, or no error? Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. This is the last question, therefore I am giving you extra time. Vijay could not scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Vijay could not scarcely conceal, this is part 1, his happiness, part 2, at my resignation, part 3. Which one is incorrect? Part 1, part 2, or part 3? So, we have already discussed multiple times that words like scarcely do not, we cannot use not with them. Why? Because double negative cancels out the statement. So, Vijay could conceal is a as an error, and part 1 is incorrect. Scarcely cannot be used with not. The correct sentence becomes Vijay could scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Okay, we will remove not from it. Why? Because we cannot use not with scarcely. Vijay could scarcely conceal his happiness at my resignation. Okay, Okay, I hope this is also clear to you. With this we come to the end of our lecture about adverbs. I hope all your doubts about adverbs are clear. If you have anything else, please mention it in the comment section. Okay, I will try to resolve all your doubts. With this, we come to the end of today's lecture about adverbs, parts of speech. Thank you.